Making Made Simple. My name is Emma. Today I'm going to show you how to use basic tools to start making glass beads. All we need is a clean surface, a small table, or any countertop will do. Most of the time I like to use a stainless steel sheet that you can purchase from the hardware store. And basically what it is just protecting your table or the countertop. Our next tool will be a canister called a propane tank or a MAP gas. And to start with, I usually use the propane tank for beginners because it's easier to use and the heat is not as much as the heat is not that high. So I like to use that for beginners. And then as we go on and you think you want to learn more and the heat you want more heat on the to fire with, we go with the MAP gas. And the MAP gas is just a little higher from the propane tank. And it makes the glass flow a little bit better than the propane tank. And what you need on top of the tanks is called a torch. A torch is for either the propane tank or the MAP gas. And you can see that both of them are very different. One is smaller and then one is a little bit bigger. So what basically it does is you put the torch on top of the tank and then you connect it to the table, and that's how you start your journey with. Our next tool is very important that you need is your eyeglass protective. Um, This protects your eyes from the heat coming out from the propane tank. And it also makes you see the colors properly. Sometimes the colors um, are different when you're firing it, so you get different colors. But then this is important because it helps you protect your eyes. And so you always need this when you're firing. And the rest are tools that help you in making the glass beads. We have a fiber blanket. A fiber blanket is basically what you use to warm your glass bead when you're done making it. And so all you're going to do is sandwich it. And this is called a mandrel. A mandrel is what you use to make your bead with. It has a bead release. This is called a bead release. And a bead release basically is a liquid that you put on the mandrel, and then that helps fire. So after you've done with your bead, you just sandwich it in there, and that warms the bead so it doesn't shatter. Most of the time, if you fire the bead and you're done with it and you don't put it right into the blanket, it shatters. So you always have to be careful and watch out for that. Some of the other tools we're going to be using are called tweezers. Tweezers are basically small tools that you can pull the bead with, make different shapes out of it, or make different designs out of it. So it's basically pulling from the bead and making different shapes out of it. We have a much longer one that's also called, this is called a masher. A masher, you can make them into a square or different shapes, actually. We have a graphite paddle. A graphite paddle does most of the work too. You can also either make it round or shape it into whichever way you want it. This is called a rake. A rake also, sometimes you see some of the beads that they look like feathers, and so when you pull them, you can get nice streaks of lines out of it. So they're all different types of tools that you can start making different shapes out of them. We also have pipe cleaners. Pipe cleaners are what after you've done with your bead and you've cooled it down, you're going to use these cleaners. It can be a long stainless steel rod, a tiny one, and that's what you use to clean your bead with. So these are some of the tools you're going to be using to make your glass, to clean your tools. And as I showed you earlier, these are called mandrels. The mandrels are what holds the beads. When you're about to start your process, what you need is put them in one by one with the bead release, and they call it bead release because it releases the bead from the rod, and that's what it means. And the bead release, you can stick them up here, and that helps. Just holding it up to dry for just a few minutes before you start the process. We have a clamp that holds the propane tank on your table. So we have a C clamp, we have an L bracket, and we have a round clamp too. And you can all get most of these at the hardware store. But most of the tools, the tweezers and the paddles and the eyewear, you can get them all in my shop, and so it makes it easier. So you don't go looking different places and looking for the tools you need to make your glass bead with. So we have an array of tools. This is a rack that you can use to put your glass rods on, and this is called a glass rod, and this is the important thing. This is what you use to actually make your bead. So we have them in different colors. You can choose so many different colors to start your bead with. So it comes in all different colors, and this is how you start making your beads with. So your basic colors that sometimes you see in glass beads, these are all glass rods that you start them with. And so I hope I was able to show you the basic tools you're going to need in making your glass beads. And as I said, you can get all the tools in my shop, and you'll have you'll have a list of all the different tools and where to get them um, in my shop as well. If you go into the blog area, you can also get that. I hope that helped, and next time we meet again, I'll show you how to set up the tank on the table and what you need to use to start your journey with. I hope that helped, and I'll see you next time.